Welcome back, chocolatiers, to another Mr. Chocolate video. And got a little nervous, not gonna lie. Star Wars fans scare me, and I'm a Star Wars fan, so I guess I scare myself. I'm making a review on Acolyte, and I thought about it. I was like, wait, I don't have like thousands of subscribers and this and that to necessarily piss off. So, you know, the main thing I want to spread on this channel outside of positivity is the truth. You know, for example, one of my favorite shows of all time is The Bear. And I was being honest, and I was like, hey, season 3, while it's really, really good still, and the acting's still a 10 out of 10, the plot doesn't move forward. And I love that in certain episodes of The Bear, but the whole season, which is why I was being honest, I was like, it's still a good show, but it's got certain problems. You guys check that video out on the channel. But here I am, watching The Acolyte, and, you know, I want to get into the negatives first, because I'm not kissing this show's ass. So this show has problems, it's bad. I'm just kind of confused how Star Wars fans are. So it's like, you know, I get it, sequel trilogy I didn't like, but Star Wars fans are, I feel like they're like, everybody exists in a spectrum, okay? But you have Star Wars fans that are sorry the air cut on, but Star Wars fans that are a huge minority, at least being vocal, and that's where the problem lies. And I'm not getting political, nothing like that. Just hear me out. My main problem is, for example, they were talking about certain acting cues and stuff like that. As somebody who's been watching Star Wars since he was probably 2 or 3 years old, I'm sorry to break it to you, but I don't think any Star Wars performances have just been Oscar fucking worthy. Like, there's literally memes from the original trilogy, like, where Luke's like, go to Tachi Station to get some power converter. Like, dude, Star Wars has always been goofy, and it's never been known for its acting, okay? You know, even, like, small things, like, first episode, because, you know, people, that's what they do. They went in hating the show, which that's, once again, I want to say this, too, so I want to give some background. So, my version of this is the Velma show. I'm a big Scooby-Doo fan, and I remember when the Velma show came out. But I remember I told people because I was hating on it before it came out, and it kind of just hit me. I was like, I get the trailers are bad. You can admit that. You can admit a trailer's bad. You can admit you're not excited for something. But it hit me, I was like, I feel like I'm getting very biased before this show comes out. Like, to the point where even if I saw it and it was actually good, which it's not, by the way, I was going to sit there and hate it. And so I sit there and said, no, I'm going to give it a fair shot, and I watched it, and I don't like the show, and guess what I did? Guess what I did? By episode 2, I think I gave it 2 or 3 episodes, I didn't like it, I stopped watching it. And that's kind of the problem with Star Wars fans. You know, they don't like this show after 2 or 3 episodes, and they're like, let me keep watching it and milking the views. They're like, let me milk them. I don't understand, and a lot of it is coming from people that I'm fans of, and I know Rant's do. I know it is, man. I get it, okay? But, like, there are people that I really love and adore, and they're like, oh, if Disney's going to milk it, I'm going to milk it. But at that point, I don't even fully trust your opinions, though, because let's say an episode's good. You already know when you do that weekly little recap video that you've been doing, you're not going to say it's good, even if it was. Because the people that you have attracted to that video are all there for hate. So why would you sit there and say that it's good? Even if it is. And in particular, I want to talk about episode 5 right now, about the show. Because I believe episode 5 is the best episode. It's the episode with pretty much just fighting. There's barely any dialogue. And I was sitting there like, oh, these fights are badass. I'm loving how they're doing, you know, the Sith Lord or whatever this and that. And I'm not talking about lore. I'm not talking about lore, breaking lore, because there are some problems with that. But just outside of it, just as an episode in general, just badass fights, like, oh, it's cool. You had people coming in here and be like, fighting's so slow. Oh, it looks so bad. Motherfucker snapping people's necks with his fucking bare hands. He's fucking, like, beating ass and shit. Like, literally, like, stabbing a bitch, force pulling her into that bitch, and then turning around and cutting their heads off. Oh, I'm just kind of okay. That's what I mean by the level of hate. Like, you can hate something and still give credit to where it's due and be like, hey, you know, I don't really like this season. I think the show's bad. But, hey, I'm going to give it these and that. they won't do that. Like, I saw so many people, there's a person in particular on this platform, and I've been seeing them a lot where they have like a ranking of the episodes. And they're, like, for example, my episode that I really hated was 7. I think 7 is awful. But 7 still has some stuff to like about it, even though it's really stupid. They're literally giving every single episode a 0 out of 10. Even the one with the cool fights. It's a 0. It's a 0. Stop. At that point, I can't. I can't with you. I don't understand. I don't understand. And so I'm here to tell you that if you fucking hate everything I just said, you can swipe off the fucking video, kiss my black ass. I'm sorry, okay? I'm being factual about this show. And not even just on a standpoint of just the fact that I just thought it was okay, because I said at the end of the day, I still think the show's okay. I still don't think it's a 10 out of 10 or nothing like that. I don't even think it's really an 8. But it's still one of those things where we have now began a community where people are just nitpicking. So let me talk about the nitpicks so I'll get into the show. So, outside of the fighting thing that I said, the choreography, everybody wanted to hush, hush, hush whenever they announced, oh yeah, the guy who did the cool Vader scene, like those people, that team, they did the fights in this, oh. Now they want to backtrack. And that happened with episode 7, 8, 9. I don't like 8. But even then, I'm not going to give it a 0 out of 10 because I like the throne room scene. I think it's good. I do like some aspects of that movie. I think some parts are good. But these people, you can't reason with them. It's either shit or it's great. You can't have something that's kind of okay. You just, they won't do it. It's a 0 or it's a 10. Either or. And, like, for example, like, to me, I think this show's better than Obi-Wan. I'm like, the Obi-Wan show did nothing for me. But even that, I don't hate that show because there's a cool fight at the end. There's things that you can say is okay. And, you know, like I said, going back to the episodes, people came out of episode 7 loving it. Yeah, they thought it was pretty much episode 4 again, but they loved it. And then episode 8 comes around, they don't like it. Uh-oh, now they hate 7. You like, what? Now you backtracking your statement. Like, bro, just, you can like 7 and not like 8 and 9. Like, that's okay. They act like somebody has a gun to their fucking head. I remember, don't want to name off nobody either, not trying to start no beef with my small ass channel, but there was a particular YouTuber that I used to watch when they were cool, and I remember that they made a review on episode 8, and they said they loved it, one of their favorite Star Wars movies ever. Everybody started posting they hated it. Like a week later, they took the review down, and then they posted one where they hated it. Like, Star Wars fans aren't even real fucking fans of Star Wars. Because I remember, for example, when I grew up, I loved episode 3. It's still my favorite episode. I'm sorry. But as a kid, the years I grew up on 1, 2, and 3. That trilogy. Then I went back, watched 4, 5, and 6. Loved those. Okay? And Star Wars is like that for everybody. There are kids who grew up with 7, 8, 9 that are going to love those movies. That's going to be... Like, 7 or 8 is going to be their favorite. And you can't tell people what's what just because you don't like it. And so on a show standpoint, because I really haven't gotten to the review yet, enough of that ranting, but the show itself, what I have problems with, I have problems with the main character. She fucking sucks. Osha, and then the other one's May. So May, her whole plot line is that, you know, she thinks her sister's dead. She's kind of joined up with the Sith Lord. And then, I'm trying to think what the fuck, she don't really do nothing in the show. She's supposed to kill 3 Jedi Masters that was responsible for her mother's death. And in doing so, her Sith Lord, her master, he wants her to kill one of them without killing anybody. So basically a force choke or some shit like that. But May's unable to do that. And then the other one, Osha. Osha is basically the main character. They are twins. And you learn some stuff with that. I'm not going to get into deep spoilers, even though everybody's been spoiling the hell out of this show. But her twin, Osha, is basically the main character of this. And she's working with Saul, the guy from Squid Games. And even like that, I really liked his character. They kind of fuck him over in the last few episodes. I really didn't love that. But for the first half of the season, he's a solid character. I actually liked him a lot. He was giving me kind of like those Qui-Gon vibes in a way. And outside of that, I would say the major of my problems are finna come right now. So, for starters, I really didn't like episode 7. Okay? So when we get to episode 6, we get some Sith Lord stuff, we get some backstory. They kind of set up stuff and they're like, oh man, who's this person? Oh man, who's that? And they do the stupid Disney shit. I don't know if you guys seen any Disney Plus show. If you're here, you probably have. They do it a lot with their Marvel shows. They like to basically set up a bunch of shit in episode 1, 2, and 3 to get you hyped. And then halfway through, you're kind of like, damn, we on episode 5, 6, ain't nothing really happening. Because they want to get filler episodes. And then you realize it's only an 8-episode season, sometimes 6. I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you, Echo. Sometimes 6 fucking episodes. Actually, I think Echo was 5. Sometimes 5 or 6 episodes. And while you're getting to that nitty gritty like an Acolyte, where you're getting to episode 7, you're like, okay, this is where they're going to build up on stuff, answer some questions, and we'll probably get a cool ass fight and some final resolution in episode 8. And then what do they do in episode 7? They go, oh, remember, like, I think it was like episode 2 or 3. They're like, remember that episode? We're going to go back, but we're going to show you a different person's point of view for the whole 35-minute runtime. I said, whose fucking decision was that? I'm over here, sitting there going, oh, this ain't bad about the show. People just kind of hating, this ain't really bad. I can't defend that. I'm sorry. Episode 7's a piece of fucking shit. But see, even like that, I hate it, but I don't hate it. It's not 0 out of 10. I would give that episode about like a 3. Because at the end, we get a cool scene with the Wookiee Jedi, and I've been waiting to see his ass. I was like, oh, fuck, this is cool. But even like that, people start breaking Star Wars lore. I'm not going to get into all that bullshit, because there are people that are more knowledgeable than me. I'm just going based on the films. But my only issue is that Star Wars lore always changes. Like, for example, when we got Clone Wars, they showed that Darth Maul's brother, Savage Opress, came from the Dathomir witches. Right? At least from what I remember, when I was sitting there watching this, I was like, oh, I remember watching it as a child. I was like probably 6 or 7. But I remember seeing that, and I was like, oh, that happens. And as a child, I was like, okay, cool. These fucking grown-ass men out here, they're losing their shit. They're like, there's witches that Star Wars, it's a galaxy far, far away. You can't tell me that on all these planets, there might just be some witches out here. Might be another group that's not Dathomir. Like I'm saying, you didn't know they exist till that. We never knew. We watched episode 1, 2, and 3, and we never knew that Anakin had a fucking Padawan until we watched Clone Wars. That means in those movies, he just never mentioned her one time. Ain't that kind of breaking canon? He never mentions one time. That's fine though, because we like Ahsoka. Like that's what I'm trying to get at. That Star Wars fans ain't understanding. Like. It's like we kind of go, oh, that's whatever. Like, no, at the end of the day, Ahsoka's kind of a dumb character to exist because it's kind of weird that in 3 fucking I'll give him 2. I'll give him 2 because in the first one he's a child. But still, in 2 fucking movies, he doesn't mention that he has any kind of, he's not, especially in 3. In episode 3, he don't mention her at all. He don't go, hey, make sure it's nothing. Nothing. What to learn from a fucking cartoon. That's canon. That's canon. It's kind of like Rex and them. Never get mentioned. Never get mentioned. Like, I'm just saying, there's, like, I don't get it. Like, lore changes when stuff like that happens, And so, that's all I'm going to talk about on lore. I'm not trying to get in that shit. I will say the fire thing in space is the dumbest complaint I've ever seen in my life. That was episode 1, and they were literally bitching on this fucking girl. I said, bro, she just doing her job, bro. Calm the fuck down. But, like, there's a fire in space. You know how many times in Star Wars there's been fires in space? Please shut the fuck up. I'm begging you. Anyways, so, as far as the show itself, I'm going to be honest with you. Outside of Saul and the Sith guy, I don't like nobody else in this show. They try to tease a character showing up from the past, because he would be younger in the High Republic era at the end of this season. I don't care. Like, I was excited when I saw it initially, but I was sitting there thinking, I said, what the fuck? Like, there's so many characters in this show, like, that I don't care about any of the Jedi. Like, a lot of people get wiped in episode 5, and I was like, that's kind of cool how he killed them. I didn't care, though, that they died. Like, I didn't give a shit that they died. There's just a lot of stuff like that with this show that I kind of have a problem with, because I'm not saying you got to give everybody a backstory, but, like, we don't get any kind of, like, for example, Osha. She says that she trained with the Jedi for a brief period of time before she left. And I think, whenever they show her with, I can't even remember his fucking name, Her with the black dude, the light-skinned black guy, whatever his name is. When they show, like, he acted like he knew her in this sentence, so I was like, oh, they probably trained together or whatever, and I think they do say that. It would have been cool to, instead of giving me a flashback in episode 7 that's basically filler, show me stuff like that. Like, it would have been cool to get some backstory with him, around episode 3 or 4. It would have been cool to be like, hey, this is like, what they did. They trained, they got close, like they were friends. Like, stuff like that. That's how you build characters, not, he said he knew her, oh, that's good. No, that's not, I need more. Like, I don't even need a flashback. They, like, have no character moments. Like, Daphne King. She's cool. She looks cool. But I couldn't tell you her fucking name to save my life right now. I know her real name, but I can't tell you her name in the show. Because her character's fucking bland and boring. And, characters that you like, for example, Saul, or Soul, whatever his name is, at the end of the season, I was like, okay, I didn't even really like him, And so, pretty much just the Sith Lord dude, I liked him, but even that was pretty much just because he's badass. We didn't learn shit about him! Who the fuck is that? Like, they kind of tell us, but they don't tell us why he's doing what he's doing, which I feel like as a show is a failure because I'm trying to think, the only question we got answered was why May was doing what she was doing and what happened to Osha, and why Soul and all of them were covering that up. That's the only thing we really get answered. We don't get answered on, why the Sith Lord's doing what he's doing, what's going on there. They introduced some kind of like Chancellor Palpatine knockoff motherfucker in episode 8, but like it was the final episode, by the way. And he just kind of comes out of nowhere. I said, who the fuck is this guy from Supergirl? Who the fuck is he? And like they have like a brief thing with him, but I'm just saying like like the whole season felt like a setup for season 2. Because the whole time I was sitting there going, who the fuck is an Acolyte? Like, nobody's really an Acolyte. Nobody. I don't know, man. I just, like, sitting here, I was like, I'm defending some stuff about it, because there's some complaints that are the stupidest shit I've seen in my life. Like, it really is. It's just people nitpicking, being assholes, whatever, because, grown men that, have to pay bills or sit there bitch about Star Wars, like me right now, I guess. But even like that, this is like my second video on it, because I did like a first impressions on the first couple episodes, and that was because I was kind of bored with those, because we got cool fights in episode 1, but in episode 2 kind of sucked. And I'm not saying we gotta get a fight every single episode, but this felt more akin to like an Obi-Wan, where like they were kind of building up to like a big fight, and even like that, episode 5 has a badass fight. Episode 8's fight scene kind of sucked. Choreography kind of sucked. And like I don't know. There's just a lot of problems with the show, but it's one of those shows where I feel like going forward, which is it's gonna be hard, because you already know it could be the best show ever. They could literally kill off Osha, everybody, opening episode, restart, fresh new cast. It could be all like strong ass white men that looks like Anakin, and people already got it made up, and they shut in their mind that they're gonna hate the show. Like, it could literally turn into a Darth Vader show. Season fucking 2. They could skip. They could be like, fuck the High Republic. We're going back. Empire times. It's Darth Vader show. Whatever. People are going to make it. They've made up in their mind they hate shows. So season 2 could come out and be a fucking 10 out of 10 and people are going to hate it. So it don't matter. But I do feel like going forward, if they do the whole Acolyte training thing like I think they're going to do, I'm kind of intrigued in that. To where they're going to go with that, because there's definitely some loose ends they left open. And I'm kind of excited to see where they go with that. Not fully excited, though, because, if they told me this got canceled, this was it, I'd be like, you know what? I wish I'd have got more from this season, but hey, I don't not expect it. And with that, I haven't gave a score in a while. I always forget to give scores into my shit. I'm going to give the Acolyte a 4 out of 10, which is bad on my scale, and I know you're probably sitting there thinking, damn, I sit here 19 minutes just to hear you say it's a fucking 4 out of 10 after hyping it up. I'm not hyping it up, it's just, yes, the show's bad, but it's not bad like that. Like, I'd rather watch this over Morbius, I'd rather watch this over Night Swim from this year. Like, I'm just saying, and I know those are movies, but I'm just saying, this show has a few things to like about it. Like I said, episode 5 in particular is really good. Episode 1's not awful. It's just not really the greatest thing. Like, that's why they dropped 2 episodes, but episode 2 kind of sucked. But I'm just saying, if they would have answered more questions for me, and the final fight would have been a little bit better, and the questions that were answered weren't just kind of boring, I think the show could have easily been a 6. I don't think it could have been no more higher than that, though, just because I didn't like any of the characters. If the characters are likable and they actually answer some more questions and the fights were a little bit better and maybe we got one more fight or some shit, maybe you could have said 7. Maybe. But yeah, with that, comment down below. I'm sure nobody's made it to this end, or at least the Star Wars fans won't. I'm sure nobody's going to make it to the end of this. They've already commented. God bless me for posting this. I'm actually fucking scared for my life. It's like the fucking mob out there, like the mafia. If you say, hey, I kind of like this one. Whoa! They pull a fucking gun out on you. It's like, bro, fucking calm down, man. Damn. But I gave it a 4 out of 10, guys. Fuck. Get off my ass, please. I don't love it. I just don't think that it's like a piece of shit. It's not a 0. I'm like, hell, there's some performances from Saw that I'm like, hey, that bumps up to a 1%. Like, fuck. 0, my guy. I don't think I've seen anything that's a fucking 0 out of 10. Hell, I even watched that Winnie the Pooh movie last year. Was that last year? Fuck, no, it was this year. Watched that Winnie the Pooh movie this year. Even that, I was like, hey, piece of shit. Still not a 0, though. Like, I'm just saying, there's things to like about everything. You just gotta not be negative, you know? Like, goddamn. But yeah, with that, catch you guys on the next one. And please pray for me for these comments. Jesus Christ. Catch you guys in the next one.